The term poison is defined as a substance with the inherent property that tends to destroy life or impair health. So, what exactly is the soul's poison? Well, putting it bluntly, I believe this poison is when you take suppressing your emotions too far. Emotions are obviously a very powerful thing. They completely determine our day, with things like fear, anger, sadness, and happiness changing our mood in an instant. However, the same can be said when suppressing them. If someone is sad and tries to hide that fact, it won't just go away. It will stay and it will linger until it is expressed. But if it's not expressed, it can grow more and more and more until, well, they pop. The best example I could give is Spider Man. Not only is he a superhero constantly fighting villains who not only want him killed, but to wreak havoc on New York. On top of that, he needs to maintain a job, a healthy relationship with his girlfriend MJ, pay rent on time, and worry about school and taking care of his Aunt May. This is a lot to handle for someone who's just out of high school. So, when Venom takes over Spider Man, that's when he pops, releasing all that pressure and stress into anger and violence. I want to talk about this topic because I took this venom myself, and whenever I did, the effects would slowly kill me, just as Spider Man, until I popped. And I do not want to see anyone else go through something like that. In an article published back in 2019, written by Alfred Archer and Georgina Mills, it discusses how victims of oppression are often encouraged to let go of their anger to improve their chances of ending their oppression. They state, victims of oppression are often asked to let go of the anger they experience in response to their oppression in order to improve their chances of bringing about an end to that oppression. This scenario highlights the potential benefit of emotional regulation. However, later in the article, they note someone might use alcohol, other recreational drugs, or food to try to stop themselves from feeling a particular emotion. This is obviously a very dangerous habit that can lead to numerous health problems later in life. With alcohol being a depressant as well, it can lead to anger outbursts. On the other hand, an easier and healthier method to manage emotion is through physical activity. Archer and Mills suggest, alternatively, one might play sports or engage in some other form of physical activity to change how one is feeling. Additionally, with an article published back in 2022, written by Claudia M. Isgel, it explores the dangers of suppressing emotion. There are many reasons why people suppress emotion. It can be to avoid a potent or explosive feeling that is deemed socially unacceptable, or to replace an uncomfortable feeling with a more acceptable one. This raises questions that are unclear. However, Isgel explains that we are influenced by expectations from other people in our lives. Anxiety and depression commonly develop because of narcissistic abuse. Trauma victims often find past experience too difficult to process or are told that they are wrong to do so. Trauma victims frequently suppress emotion due to feeling that they have already discussed their issue enough, and society often accepts their suppression when it shouldn't. People need to talk. Humans are social creatures, so suppressing something so potent like emotions can significantly impact one's self-confidence as well as social and personal life. Yet at the same time, suppressing emotion can be a necessary coping mechanism. For both rounds of my action research overview, I did personal one-on-one interviews with 4 people, one of which will not be shown in this video due to his request. However, the other ones I will introduce to you now.
My name is Cecilia Rodriguez.
Rod Brada.
Charles Washington.
My reasoning behind having personal interviews as opposed to a survey is because I wanted to represent this topic with more personal connections and personal stories as opposed to numbers, quality over quantity. For all 3 interviews, I asked them all the same question. 1. Have you ever suppressed your emotions before, and if so, why? 2. What was the reason and logic behind your thinking process of not sharing your emotions? 3. How did you suppress your emotions affect the situation? 4. How did suppressing your emotions affect you? And the last question, do you think your emotions are a weakness or hindrance? I would like to thank all the participants who helped me with this interview. They gave me extreme detailed answers and a lot of footage to work with, so I really had my work cut out for me. But now let's hear what they actually have to say.
I think we all, well, anyway, I do suppress my emotions. I actually started suppressing emotions for a young age. Going back, I was in a boarding school. I was left in a boarding school when I was about 8 years old. My mother left El Salvador and moved to this country and was left in a boarding school. And you have all kinds of issues dealing with kids, with all kinds of different things that you would tend, and my tendency was to keep quiet.
Yes, I have. And why? It's because sometimes you gotta rethink before you show your emotions to others. I think it serves as a protection when you do that.
Yes. One, growing up in a family of, well, clearly African American, but my father is from the Caribbean and my mother's from the United States. But growing up in a family where really discussing thoughts, feelings, and emotions was not really part of the culture, and so I grew up learning how to suppress how I felt because I didn't have that kind of place to discuss what I was feeling when I was younger.
Trying to suppress your emotions sometimes makes you think about the whole scenario before you can react to it.
Because if I kept quiet, people wouldn't have a chance to pick on me. So I learned to be quiet and suppress their emotions, suppress them all the time. And I see other people having a good time and I wasn't having a good time. And I pretended that I was having a good time. So I did suppress my emotions, and it's something that's carried through a lot of my life,
So then, as I grew up, I started experiencing anxiety. Started experiencing anxiety around like 12. But it got really bad when I went away to college. So experiencing anxiety, panic attacks, didn't really know what was going on. First panic attack, I thought I was dying. Dealt with a lot of depression, and it was all really stemming from not having a place or knowing how to vocalize my feelings, thoughts, and emotions, and kind of get out what was going on with me. So yeah, I grew up with that.
What it means to me is like if somebody does something to me, right, and then it hurts, then I gotta rethink of how I see what is going on and how am I gonna react to it, because I think that that's kind of one of the biggest things. You gotta rethink before you are impulsive about it because you can regret.
Also, you suppress emotions also when dealing with the opposite sex. You don't want to be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
So if you show deep emotions, then you're taken over. You show that they have you to do what they want you to do, not what you may want to do.
Through therapy and my own just personal work and personal journey, I've made it a point to always express what I'm feeling, so that I'm not in a place of holding things anymore. And so I journal a lot. I've been journaling since I was like 17. I journal a lot. I still continue my own therapy. Every good therapist needs their own therapist. And I have a really good community of friends who um, we have open dialogue about, things that we're going through and how we're getting through them, and get advice, give advice. So, this communities where reciprocity is huge. And so, yeah, no longer in that place of holding things in. It's been a constant work, but we're still working on it.
I think with maturity, you learn that it's better if you suppress that emotion for a minute, and then you can set up your boundaries, and then you can express how you feel in a calm way.
There is a music song that it says it's better to have loved and lost, not to have loved at all.
For my first dataset collection, I wanted to focus on key words and terms used by my mother and the person who wants to remain anonymous. They were the first two I interviewed as well. So, some key words like protection and boundaries are used by my mother in the way that you protect yourself for potential conflict if you do express your emotions, but also need to put boundaries if you think that person is taking advantage of you. Keywords Anonymous mentioned were trapped and lost, used to describe how they felt their emotions were locked away somewhere and how they're lost trying to find them again, almost navigating through a dark maze. As for my second dataset, I wanted to put more of an emphasis on the side effects that may occur when suppressing emotion. For the second round, I interviewed my uncle and my therapist at the time. For my therapist, he mentioned he had experienced depression and anxiety as a byproduct of not being able to express proper emotion. This heavily hit him when he was going throughout college. As for my uncle, he experiences a sense of numbness and disconnection from his fellow peers due to him being abandoned at the age of 8 and himself keeping quiet, pretending to have fun when he truly wasn't. Through all 4 of my interviews, I learned how suppressing emotion is essential for all humans. In my uncle and therapist case, they both had to keep pushing regardless of how bad they felt. Emotional suppression is necessary for most people. We're expected, for example, not to spend the day crying from sadness at work. Modern society demands that we suppress emotion. We must put a lid on a feeling so we can perform, whether that be at work or to survive in a dysfunctional family. In public spaces, we are expected to act respectful. Shouting with anger is frowned upon for most people, and most people don't have the tools or confidence to express anger in a different way. So, we suppress emotions to cope, to confirm because we are told to survive because we are ashamed, or because trauma is just too painful to process. So while yes, suppressing emotion is necessary, but suppressing too much will inevitably lead to depression, anxiety, a sense of numbness, feeling lost or trapped, feeling a disconnection from those around you. But so what? Is there even a cure to this kind of poison? Yes, there is a cure. We're able to talk to others. Seeking therapy is a great option, as well as other healthy alternatives. Expressing strong emotions like anger work well with exercise and rage rooms. Yes, suppressing emotions is okay, but too much is not. So, please, if there's only one thing you take away from this, let it be this. It's okay to feel the way you are, and it's okay to express them in your own healthy way. But there will always be someone who wants to help, someone who wants to reach out, whether that be a family member or professional. So don't feel bad for looking for help.